far, so well.
So these aren't really steps up here, they're more like just rocks that have been cut out to make steps. You also got this little chain you can hold on to. It is a little loose, so the pole's a little bit better to grab. Oh, you can tell by my breath that I'm nearly out of it. But that's alright, I feel like we're getting pretty close. The view hasn't really changed though. It's more of that. But so far so good. Might stop and have some lunch pretty soon. We'll see how we go. So we're about an hour into our first day. We're up the top where you overlook Cradle Lake, and this is pretty much all you can see. Fog. So you got like 60-meter visibility, and that's pretty much it. Hopefully it clears up. There's a little bit of wind, but it's not too bad. But here's a little pod. Literally just a box. Wow, and not a box, a sphere. That you can go to when it's extreme weather. Hopefully you won't get any of that today or the next 6 days. But they got these like snow markers out as well. So obviously it does rain. I mean, it does snow up here. So I use the snow markers because if you can imagine trying to walk in this in snow, it'd be pretty hard. But there it is. We shall continue.
Alright, so yesterday we just finished the Walls of Jerusalem hike, which was our first overnight hike. In total we did about 25 kilometres over the 2 days. The first day we did 15 k's, 10 to camp, and then we did an extra 5 just exploring, and then hiked out the extra 10 yesterday. Alright, so last night we stayed at Cradle Mountain Fishery and Campsite. It was a really nice little family campsite. It was just kind of on someone's land. It had a fair bit of acreage, a massive pond, and you can just kind of scatter yourself anywhere you like around the property. It was really beautiful, and they do have portaloos. I must say, they were the nicest portaloos I have ever been in. He had a fake plastic plant in there, air freshener, reed diffuser, a doormat. It was lovely. So yeah, that was quite nice. Anyway, so we left there this morning and we drove to the Cradle Mountain Visitor Information Centre, where we got our pre-purchased waterproof map, and we also did like the check-in, sign-in, and got our hiking passes. So these you just attach to your bag, and when you pass a ranger or anything like that, they just double check them. Other than that, it also got us on the bus. So from the Visitor Information Centre, at the Visitor Information Centre, we had a 15-minute briefing. It was all about what the weather was like this week and what we should have packed. A bit too late if you haven't packed any of that stuff, so tough luck. And then they showed us a real scary video on hypothermia. And the video told us what to do if we got hypothermia. And they also warned us about this native bird that they have around here that has learnt how to take people's waterproof covers off their bags and unzip their bags and steal food. So we now have possums and a crow looking bird to look out for. After that briefing, or they also made sure everyone had like a SOS sort of phone, PLB, or like a Garmin like we have, where you can get send SOS calls out. So they did all those checks, and then they have a shuttle bus that runs every 10 to 15 minutes. And because you can hike the Overland Track, or you can do just some day hiking here, there was a fair bit of people on the bus, and they do about 3 or 4 stops on the bus. So we got off at the 3rd stop and started the trek, and here we are. Not gonna lie, they told us that the first day was going to be the hardest, and so far hiking up, not gonna lie, found that a bit hard, especially because we just did 25 k's not like 2 days ago, and then I just didn't realise what it was like hiking with the pack on either. It's just different, that's all. It puts a lot of pressure on your back, but yeah, I got the small bag, Tim got the big one, so I can't complain too much. So yeah, it's so far so well. And we've experienced a couple seasons of weather already, and yeah, we're just hoping and praying it doesn't snow on us. But other than that, I believe that the weather's going to be pretty alright this week. They said the only iffy day is Thursday, where and Friday, where it could get up to, or predicted, 45-kilometre winds, and there's some rain expected as well. We've got our jackets and our waterproof pants, and we are just planning to try and sleep in the huts as we go. They did say that the huts can house up to 33 people in 33? 36 people in majority of the huts along the way. So our plan is, where possible, to sleep inside the hut, stay warm, stay dry, and even if you can't get a space in the hut, there's benches and tables and heater in there. So they said that you're more than welcome to go eat and prepare food and sit in there if you're camping elsewhere as well. So that's what lady. Oh yes, so at the walls of Jerusalem, I was talking to this lady, and she had done the prepaid, not prepaid, what was it called? Group booking, which is about $2,000 per person, and I believe you just carry your own essential items, and they organise food, campsites, and hot showers apparently for you.
Only at some.
Oh, only at some. So they provide all that, and you go with the guide. And she said that the groups weren't allowed inside the huts at all, and she said it was like a mile away from everything else, a mile away from like water and the toilets. So she was a bit disappointed that she couldn't go in the huts, or the fact that it was so far away from the facilities as well. So yeah.
That's where we're going tonight. That's where we're going the rest of the day.
The rest of the trip.
So here's the Waterfall Valley. Over there's the main camping hut. Then you got the ranger's hut, and our view. And just down there where that guy is the helipad.
So we just, oops, I stepped in poo.
Ooh.
So we arrived at our, what is it, Waterfall Way?
Waterfall
Valley?
Valley.
Well,
Alright, so we've just arrived at our first camp for the night, which is Waterfall Huts. Behind us here is Barn Bluff, just there. It's the first time we're actually seeing like close to the top of it, just because it's starting to clear up.
and the sun and blue sky. It's the
And
first
that's
time.
like the first sun of the whole day, which is pretty cool. Our huts are like really luxurious for huts. They kind of look like eco camp lodges. There's 36 like beds, and they're like kind of slats. We'll show you a video of it.
It's wooden
Wooden slats,
beds.
yeah. But when we arrived, there was like one other person in our room, and the room sleeps probably like 15, 20 people in just ours. So we got a pretty good little corner section, so we're not smelling anyone's feet.
Except you're out already.
Yeah, which would be nice. But yeah, there's like full eating section, fresh water tank outside. Obviously,
Really
just gotta,
nice compost toilets.
yeah,
Well kept. There is a like on-site ranger, so obviously they do a lot of the upkeep here, but really nice toilets. If you're a nervous compost toilet goer like me, feel reassured.
but you do have to bring your own toilet paper, so don't forget that. There are plenty of leaves you could probably use if you wanted to.
There it's spiky.
Yeah, very spiky. But so far so good.
We'll
Pretty
report
nice.
back in the morning if there's any snorers.
We did walk past the old hut as well, which is just there. Thank God they fixed them, because yeah, there was like
Territory.
snake territory. The roof's coming apart,
No insulation.
and it's just like
Wooden slats.
wooden slat. But there's only like room for 4 people, so thankfully there's some brand spanking new ones for us to sleep in and test out. Stay tuned. So this is the hut we were talking about, the old one. They're the brand spankers over there, and this is obviously what they used to use in here. That's it. Pretty, oh, there is insulation up there. Pretty shocky, but that's alright. Got a nice view though. So, yeah, and a fire extinguisher in case it all burns. Well, good morning. Oh, unless you're watching this at a different time, probably night time, but it's good morning for us. It's currently 8:40, and we're leaving the huts at Waterfall Valley. There's our view of Barn Bluff. It's a little clearer today, so we can actually see pretty far, which is quite nice. We decided to do the double, so we're going to skip Windermer Hut and go straight to Pelion Hut, which is 24 kilometres of a walk. It's not as brutal as yesterday. It's pretty flat, and it only like elevation only changes like 200 meters or something like that, so we should be half alright to do that. Yeah, and should be a nice day. Winds pick up a little bit, up to like 25-35 k's an hour, which is pretty blowy, so we'll see how that goes. And then the helicopter's actually coming in today to all the huts, because they actually empty all the toilets via helicopter, so they pick them up and change them out pretty much. So that's coming today, so if we need a little hitchhike or something, we can do that to the next round probably, if we ask nicely. And yeah, let's do it. So there's the helicopter that they said was dropping off to the huts. Don't know if they're doing the toilet pickup, they may just be dropping off some stuff or checking in, but pretty cool. Hopefully nobody is injured and on it. But there it is. So yeah, it turns out the hut is a pretty good place to meet people and socialise. There was about 30 of us there last night. We ran into 3 boys from Melbourne, Filipino, just like myself. It was good to meet them, and a couple other guys that were doing the trek. A lot of people have actually come from like far and wide to come here. It's not just Tasmanians. I think we only saw I met like 2 Tasmanians, and the rest are just like from wherever, which is pretty cool. So last night at the hut we ran into two pretty incredible people. One was 77 and one's 78, and they've been best friends since their army days when they were like 20. And when they were in the army, they actually came here to Cradle Mountain and did a hike up it and then abseiled back down it, and then they drove to Lake St. Clair and then did some stuff around there, so they never actually got to experience the middle, and it was one of the guys' bucket list things to do. So he dragged his other mate along all the way out here from Perth, so they flew in just to do this trip, and they're enjoying it now, which is pretty insane to think that at that age they can still punch on and do a 65-kilometre walk with us young ones. And I'm puffing just from walking up there. Whew. Pretty determined, pretty impressive.
Alright, so to put in perspective to where we've walked so far, so we've done 7.8 kilometres from the Waterfall Valley Huts, which is, if you see that mountain in the background there, it is on the far right side. Is kind of roughly where we started, like as the crow flies, and then we've walked all around the side here. Alrighty, so we just stopped off at the new Windermer huts. We just went to the bathroom and got our packs back on, and now we're walking to the new Pelion Huts. There was a sign back there said it was about a 5-hour walk, and I believe it's about 16 kilometres. So it is 10 past 11 at the moment. Probably going to walk until about 12 and have some lunch and then carry on. So I believe it's pretty moderate to easy walking right until the end, where there's about a 200-metre elevation, which would be great after a long day of us walking to have a nice little hard bit at the end. Alright Timmy, what's on today's menu?
So today's menu, we're having some good old-fashioned beef meringue noodles with some tuna, and then for a little snack we've got some of our apricot balls, which actually are a hit with everyone at the camp. Just going to boil some water in our jet boil. This water in this bottle here is actually from the tank that's at the Waterfall Valley hut. So you are supposed to boil it or use a filter or some tablets that'll clean it up. But we're just going to boil it and hope for the best. Hopefully we don't get any tummy sicknesses like we did in Bali, because that would be pretty bad. So just boil some water. This is good, especially like on hikes like this, just to replace your salts. And then some sugars there as well. We also been snacking on some lollies, like some gummy bears and worms.
And we also had a muesli bar,
And
so
a muesli
we're
bar.
not all unhealthy.
It's good for you. So
Eating them off the ground, Tim.
So, because we've been hiking, and normally when you're at home as well, you always get these little crumbs as offcuts off the actual noodle packet. So we're just going to put them to the side, like so. That way, once all our noodles are nice and soggy and ready to eat, we pour this on the top, and we've got a nice little crunch to end our noodles, which is always lovely.
Yeah. Just because you're hiking, it doesn't mean you can't live luxuriously.
Water's nice and boiled in the jet boil. It took like a minute and a half to do 2 cups of water, which is pretty good. Probably better than our stove at the van. Just gonna pour it over our noodles. Like that. Oh. And I'll mix that once it starts to get softer. Like so. There you have it. Our noodles, tuna, and little crispy toppings. How good. Still got a long way to go.
Yep.
So we're about 18 k's into our 24-kilometre walk, so 6 k's left. We're about to get to the worst part of this walk. It literally goes like down in elevation like 200 metres, and then as soon as you get to the bottom, go straight back up the 200 metres in elevation over like 2Ks, so it's like a gradual climb apparently, but yeah, the feet are pretty sore, the legs are pretty sore, and getting pretty tired. But it's just off 3 o'clock now, and the GPS reckons we should get to camp about 20 past 4. So just over an hour and 20 minutes till our arrival. But pretty nice forestry we're walking in, or rainforest. It's very boggy, the boots are getting quite a workout, but like, it's a very cool place. So yeah, quite nice. So we're about 4.5 Ks out from our camp tonight, and just went for a wee little dip in what they call Fourth River. Alright, so it is now 10 minutes to 5, and we're like a couple hundred meters away from Pelion Huts. Oh, what an adventure. We're both pretty pooped, tired, legs are killing. Feet are swollen. It's good fun, but we did it.